biggest contribution that we can make to ourselves and others is to communicate in a manner that fulfills the purpose of a relationship. So let us center ourselves before we begin. Take a deep breath, inhale possibilities, and exhale limitations. So today is the first in the series. We'll talk about conscious, inspiring communication. So I just want to remind you, communication begins with the willingness to accept another person's point of view without changing it. It doesn't mean that you have to agree with them. It doesn't mean you have to disagree with them. It doesn't mean that you have to do what they say. It simply means that you are willing to accept another person's point of view. Now you may say, why should I? You should, because why are we communicating anyway? We are communicating in order to support each other. We are communicating in order to empower each other. And we are communicating in order to make each other stronger and inspired and enthusiastic and energized. And it's good to know and remember that purpose of any relationship, whether it's family or team or partnership, is what? Growth of yourself and the other person. So to do this, you have to communicate consciously. So what is conscious communication? See, most of our communication is automatic, reactive, unconscious, emotional, defensive, and habitual. And we just react to whatever is being said to us. In conscious communication, what happens? You are more present. You are very, very aware of your intention. You speak with clarity, not with your ego. And you listen to get the other person's point of view, not to react or respond immediately. First, to understand their words, understand their feelings, understand where they're coming from. And also, all the time remembering, why are you communicating anyway? To fulfill the purpose of a relationship. So remember one thing, we are energetic beings and all of us pick up the energies of each other. So you're saying something and your energies are also saying something, and that energetic communication is stronger than your words. So remember, communication is not only words. Communication is energy being delivered through words. So when your energy is clean, when your energy is aligned with your intentions, then your words become very, very powerful. So let us reflect on the purpose of communication. In whatever relationships you have, what is the purpose of communication for you? So remember, the true purpose of communication is to fulfill the purpose of the relationship. Let me repeat that. The true purpose of communication is to fulfill the purpose of the relationship. Whatever relationship you may have, whether it's in the office or at home, with your colleagues or your bosses or your juniors, there is a purpose for which the relationship exists. And it is always one of these three things. A, to support each other. Yeah. Supporting means helping each other to carry emotional, mental, and practical load. So people carrying a lot of stuff, so they need support for their emotional needs, mental needs, practical load. Second purpose is to empower each other. Helping the other person become more aware, more capable, more confident. That is empowering the other person. Making the other person stronger and inspired. So communication should leave the other person feeling bigger than before. Bigger than before the communication started. Now ask yourself, how many of you actually do this? Yeah, if you do, you can put your comment in the comment box or in the chat box. So I'm going to give you some, the solid foundation for inspired communication. So the first foundation is being consciously aware. So before you speak, ask yourself, what energy am I bringing into this? Especially when you're facing someone who's being aggressive or, you know, non cooperative and all. It's a good time. What energy am I bringing into this? Am I going to react to the other person's energy, or am I going to send out energy which will calm things down and make us open to listen to each other's point of view? What energy you want to bring into it? Remember, energy precedes words. When somebody is coming to you aggressively, they are expecting aggression in return. When you don't give it and you're giving kindness and compassion and patience, then they also start resonating with that. So if you're sending out energy of frustration, your words will hurt. If the energy is care, your words will heal. So let's do a quick exercise. Put your hands on your heart and say silently to yourself, I choose to speak from awareness. So easy to do, no? Whenever you're getting into a conversation with a person, and I would say, especially when you are expecting the conversation to be difficult, like when you're giving feedback to someone, or your boss is giving feedback to you, or somebody's made a mistake, or you've made a mistake, say silently to yourself, I choose to speak from awareness. Now, this will reset your emotional state instantly. The second pillar is empowering intention. The conscious communication is very, very intentional. So, most of the time, most people speak with what intention? To prove themselves right, or to win the argument or discussion, or to defend, or always to be right, or to control. They don't care about what the other person is saying. They want to be heard. But in inspired communication, the inspired communicator will speak only with one intention, or rather two intentions, that I'm willing to accept this other person's point of view without changing it. And the second most powerful intention is, may this conversation lift us both higher. May this conversation show all of us a direction, a possibility. Now, this intention shapes the direction of the conversation. So remember something, when the intention shifts, your communication transforms. Then, inspirational expression when you speak. So this is how you will express your thoughts. So, inspirational expression would include clarity, it would include kindness, it would include honesty, transparency, possibility, respect, allowance, vision, words that will show the bigger picture. Like, we are here to create new possibilities for us in this situation, or we are here to find out how to make this possible. Yeah? So tell them. You can even tell them your job is not to say everything, your job is to say what makes this relationship stronger. You can tell them if you want to. And I'm telling you also that your job is not to just blurt out everything, It is to make the relationship stronger. This is conscious leadership communication. So let's look at a few practices which will transform your communication. First thing, pause before responding. Yeah, so when you pause, this wise mind of yours get activated. When you pause, reactivity will melt away, resistance will start melting away, awareness will increase. You will choose your response. So remember, when you're reacting now, you don't have any choice about your response or reaction. Fight or flight, that kind of reaction is there. When you are more aware, you choose your response, which is appropriate. Always remember, a 3-second pause can save a relationship, whether it is 3-year-old relationship, 1-year-old relationship, or a 30-year-old relationship. Second thing is, speak to the higher version of the other person. What it means is that when I'm speaking to someone, I can keep in my mind that here is a wonderful, magnificent, extraordinary human being just like me, and I'm speaking to that person. So instead of speaking to their mistakes or their fears or their limitations, the way sometimes you talk to people, you always make mistake. Can't you do anything right? What will that evoke in the other person? Nothing good, right? But instead of speaking to their mistakes, can you speak to their potential? Like saying things like, hey, listen, I know you are capable. I know you know your job very well. So if something has gone wrong, it must be a mistake, and let's find out how to fix it, right? Speaking that way. I know you're capable. I believe in your strength. I very clearly see the leader in you. And tell the truth, don't bluff. I promise you, everybody has something great, and if you're not aware of that, well, better get aware of that and speak to that. This is how you will empower people. And then using appreciation as a communication tool. Maybe you should write and keep it somewhere. One, genuine appreciation can change the energy of a relationship completely. And this is something I think we need to take out some time, practice every day. At least practice one meaningful appreciation every day. This is the fastest way to strengthen the connection with others. So let's do a small experiment here, an experience here. Now bring somebody to your mind, remember someone you work with, someone you live with, someone you love. Remember the last conversation you had with them. Yeah, the previous conversation that you had. How was your energy? Were you conscious or were you reactive? Now imagine, okay, that you're speaking to them again. You're imagining, you're speaking to them again consciously, slowly, with awareness and kindness, in an empowering way, in a loving way, in a kind way. Now mentally say to them in your mind, may my words support you. May my communication empower you. May this relationship become stronger. May my words make this relationship stronger. Just feel this. Now, this becomes your new communication blueprint. So remember, what we are doing is we are shifting from habit to conscious choice. So we've got years and years of habitual way of communicating. We are now shifting it to more conscious choice. So most people communicate with what old patterns, they communicate with old emotional baggage and wounds that they have. They communicate from their conditioning. Most people communicate from their survival fears. Conscious communication comes from what? Presence. It comes from clarity. It comes from intention. Comes from growth. And let me remind you one thing, we are not responsible for how others respond. We are responsible for the energy that we bring. I'll repeat that. You're not responsible for how other people will respond. You are responsible for the energy that you bring into a conversation. So choose today to speak in a way that lifts people up, inspires them. Choose to be in a state where you are willing to accept another person's point of view without changing it. Yeah. Choose to communicate in a way that fulfills the purpose of every relationship. To grow, to evolve, to support, to inspire. To grow, to evolve, to support, and to inspire. Let every word you speak become a bridge, a connection, a bridge to clarity, a bridge to connection, collaboration, love. Take a deep breath together. Let your communication today and every day make someone's day better. Let it make your day better. Let it bring a smile to your face and other people's faces. Remember, we want to live by choice and creation, not by survival and reaction. We'd love to have a life of ease, joy, and glory, wouldn't we? You know someone who does not want to live a life of ease, joy, and glory? So some years back, somebody told me, everybody wants to live a life of ease, joy, and glory. And in my mind, I was thinking, but they don't behave like that. They all want a life of ease, joy, and glory, but they make sure that nobody has it. But we will make sure that we are spreading through our communication the possibility of ease, joy, and glory. Make sense? So have a great day and a great week and a great everything.